This war stops now.
You are tired of the war. I can see on your face.
End the war. Bring freedom to our people.
This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
Let's stop! Listen to me! Listen to me! Stop!
No. No more tricks. No more lies. Only truth.
Welcome to the Stop and Listen podcast. I am your host, Jamie. So we got some news today. Yesterday was the presidential debate by Nikki Haley and Ron Desantis for the Republican nomination, and only those two qualified, and of course Trump, who didn't participate. And then Christie, he got out of the race.
Let's go, I'm bored, let's go.
Last night CNN had the Desantis-Haley debate, and Trump did a corresponding something or other on Fox and got almost double the numbers. I've not seen anything with regards to the debate, so I'm going to go research it as we go along here and watch it for the first time, or at least some of it for the first time. Christie, Christie dropped out of the race, and then also got caught on a hot mic talking about DeSantis and Haley and Trump too. So let's get into it.
What have you been up to? What is the hot gossip? Tell me everything.
So Christie suspends campaign to spend more time with family-sized 12-piece chicken meal from KFC, according to the Babylon Bee. I've made my fair share of fat jokes in my life, and I try not to do it anymore. It's so rude. But for this fella,
he's fat, he's a fool, and he's an embarrassment.
He's fine. Or not, I don't know. He's just... Christie may have a different appearance, may have a different demeanor than a lot of the other Republican candidates and politicians, but he's ultimately about the same. There's a little bit of good about him, mostly bad. That's the way it goes. So scrolling Twitter, I've seen this a couple of times, but not from like solid choices. That Christie and Mike Pence will endorse Biden, leave the Republican Party when President Trump wins the GOP nomination, according to a news report. What are your thoughts on these two rhino cowards' plans?
Stupid guy for rabbit.
Well, you're going to have to be more specific. They're both kind of fat and stupid.
Christie, honestly, wouldn't surprise me. I mean, where he's from, New Jersey, if he did such a thing, wouldn't surprise me at all. But I don't know, I mean, he's been governor. Unless he wants to go be a senator, he might be able to pull that off. And maybe it's more so easily done from New Jersey as a Democrat. Pence, no. I mean, I think Christie's going to be on Fox News. I think that's his next step. And Mike Pence, I don't know what... I think he was congressman before he was governor. So I guess he could also become senator. But he's not going anywhere. Their careers are over. And we will... Unless they end up on Fox News, where we're not going to hear either one of those for a year from now. Remember Rick something or other from Texas? This Rick something or other from Texas was governor, ran for president, had a brain fart, and kind of just... When was the last time you heard his thoughts on anything? See, these people run for president. I think that's how you probably know whether somebody wants to be president for a good reason or not. Whether you hear from them once they're not president. That doesn't happen a lot. I think I'm trying a new thing, something to fidget with. I think this is going to help me not talk with my hands so much. Because, man, I don't know. I mean, it's different. I mean, sitting at a desk and here talking like waving my hands like I'm freaking trying to put out a fire. Sorry about that. I heard the DeSantis-Haley debate was very boring. So CNN isn't even posting the debate. So I am left scrolling. Ron DeSantis, here we go. Okay, looks like it was pirated. Like over 2 hours. My goodness. Okay, so this video is from Politico. It says, watch highlights from DeSantis and Haley's Iowa presidential debate. I just found out today that Politico is actually a German-owned company, or a German-owned company runs it, owns it, what have you. And Politico is a fairly left-wing news source. Just FYI, I don't know if that's going to affect the video, if they're gonna slant it, or how this is going to be presented. But just, so we're all informed. Let's watch this 3 minute, 30-second highlight reel from Politico. See what it says.
Issues. I'm running to pursue your issues.
Rather than have him go and tell you all these lies, you can go to DeSantisLies.com. It will cover the fact that he's only mad about the donors because the donors used to be with him, but they're no longer with him now.
You got to have a leader who's going to fight the teachers' unions and is going to deliver school choice. Governor Kim Reynolds did that here in Iowa, who's endorsed me. She says she's always supported school choice.
See, in a political debate for running for president, talking about school choice, teachers' unions, that's a state issue. That is a state issue. Unless you didn't allow... I was just thinking through it in my mind for a second that maybe like the teachers' union being public sector is a problem, which of course it is, but I mean, that's federal versus state. So, and honestly, I don't really... Think of the branch that they are trying to become the head of, the executive branch. We need them to execute. So why, I mean, this maybe CNN's, who knows who brought it up. But, yeah, to sit there, you're trying to be the top executive of this country, and then you're bickering back and forth between about a subject that you'll have no influence on as president. I mean, neither one of these are ever...
Choice, and she failed to deliver. She blames other people. Leadership is about getting things done.
If leadership's about getting things done, how did you blow through $150 million in your campaign and you were down in the polls?
So here's
you are not a manager.
Governor DeSantis, it's Governor Haley's. It's Governor Haley's time. Go ahead.
I think I hit a nerve.
Do not trust Nikki Haley with illegal immigration. That's like having the fox guard the hen house.
Will any of the more than 10 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S. be allowed to stay in the country under your administration?
You have to deport them. And the reason you have to deport them is they're cutting the line.
We will build a wall. We will actually have Mexico pay for it in the way that I thought Donald Trump was.
I wish Donald Trump was up here on this stage. He's the one that I'm running against. He's the one that I wish would be here. He needs to be defending his record.
People like Nikki Haley care more about Ukraine's border than she does about our own southern border.
Nobody knows what he believes because when President Obama was in office, he supported foreign aid to Ukraine. Now he's copying Trump and trying to act like he doesn't want to support Ukraine.
Nikki Haley is basically a carbon copy of what Biden is. It's an open-ended commitment. They want another $108 billion.
There's a reason the Taiwanese want us to help the Ukrainians, and that's because they know if Ukraine...
During the Obama administration, funding Ukraine, which is a bad idea, no matter what the factors are, but I'm sure they looked at it because they looked at it that it wasn't it wasn't, at that point, it wasn't an armed conflict. So by funding them, it was geopolitical, stealing our money and giving it to Ukraine. Yeah, I mean, it is practically the same as it is now, but now we've got, death.
Wins, China won't invade Taiwan.
We don't have enough resources being $35 trillion in debt to continue doing hundreds of billions of dollars.
Then I wonder why you raised the debt when you were in Congress, because we're all paying for that. If we support Ukraine, Israel, and secure the border, that's less than 20% of Biden's green subsidies. You do not have to choose when it comes to national security.
This is the UN way of thinking, that we're somehow global.
See, I agreed with what she said in principle, but it's disingenuous. I don't know. I feel like I got a great bullshit meter. I think I could detect liars pretty well. But I really have no way of testing it, really. Desantis, I don't know, man. He's just like he's a nervous acting fella.
Globalists, and we have unlimited resources.
It has never been that Israel needs America. It has always been that America needs Israel.
When she was at the UN, she supported the idea of a two-state solution between Israel and the Palestinian Arabs. The problem with that is the Palestinian Arabs don't recognize Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state.
If you would have listened to what I said at the United Nations, a two-state solution wasn't something that was possible because Israel would always come to the table and the Palestinians wouldn't. But it's really rich that Ron is going to act like he suddenly cares for Israel when he brought the person to Iowa that's the most anti-Israel Republican in the state, the person that went and voted against Israel's right to exist in Congress.
We don't need an accountant in the White House. We need a leader in the White House. And that's what I would bring.
Why is it that his state is now known to have the highest cost of living increases? And why is it that they're saying senior citizens can no longer afford to live?
That's because supply and demand. So if Nikki Haley in a previous debate or I know, like the slavery comments she made where she started yammering on about capitalism. Well, supply and demand. Texas has been governed so well, not just by DeSantis, previously to him, and these other states that are turning into communist hellscapes, people are fleeing, going to Florida. Well, what is it when you have a bunch of people coming in? Well, what's that going to do? It's going to raise prices. Unfortunately, it is. But she is not a smart woman. She really isn't. I mean, she's displayed that repeatedly over this campaign. And, man, there was a time where I really thought I really could see her as president someday. And, man, you put a microscope on somebody and, geez Louise.
In Florida. We don't need him doing that to our country.
What do you admire about Governor Haley?
You know, at the United Nations, I did think that she spoke out strongly on some key issues, and I appreciated that. I also appreciate the state of South Carolina, and I think to be able to have been governor there is a great achievement.
Wrong. Governor Haley, what do you admire about Governor DeSantis?
I think he's been a good governor.
Okay.
Okay. That was boring. I'm going to cut the shit out of that because I think I'm going to cut the shit out of that because I'm the only one who said anything interesting during that whole video. So this is again from Politico. This is going to be Trump's town hall in 3 minutes with two people who are against him. Actually, I don't know who the blonde lady is, but I know
if you are the nominee, which I know you expect to be,
he's a Mitt Romney kind of guy.
For vice president.
Well, I can't tell you that really. I mean, I know who it's going to be.
Give us a hint.
I'll give you. We'll do another show sometime.
Can you say tonight that political violence is never acceptable?
Well, of course that's right, and of course I'm the one that had very little of it. Take a look.
If you are the nominee, which I know you expect to be, who would be in the running for vice president?
Well, I can't tell you that really. I mean, I know who it's going to be.
Give us a hint.
I'll give you. We'll do another show sometime.
Can you say tonight that political violence is never acceptable?
Well, of course that's right, and of course I'm the one that had very little of it. Take a look at wars again. I didn't start. I wasn't involved in wars. We beat the hell out of ISIS. We won 100%. We brought our troops back home. Look at the violence that we've had. Look at the violence we have recently.
There are questions about how much a second term of a Donald Trump presidency, second term, would be about retribution and looking backwards and grievances, and how much would be looking forward.
So
I'm not going to have time for retribution.
Good point. That's that's a perfect way for him to start that answer. So let's see what he says. But I finished the Bobby Kennedy book today. The Real Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, Big Pharma, and the Global War on Democracy and Public Health. And I highly recommend it. I listened to it on Audible, and I will be buying the hardcover version. And this little one down here, Vax, Unvax, Let the Science Speak, I'm going to go ahead and give that a listen. That's how much I enjoy the information. The narrator could have been a little bit better, but the things in this book, if RFKJ is not serving in some capacity to the next administration, that's what I'm hoping, he should be making a series from this book and putting it on the Daily Wire. There's a clear need for this, and it would be very, very good. But upon listening to it, one of my biggest beefs with Trump before listening to this book, that he let Fauci influence our country. And this book opened my eyes on how in depth that was. Anthony Fauci is the swamp. He is the swamp. He controls government organizations that put policies in for everybody, and then has his name on patents for drugs that he can help get approved. So Fauci is the swamp creature, and Trump stood right next to him and didn't see it. So I don't believe that he has any ability to drain the swamp. What are they so afraid of with Donald Trump? I don't understand. Are they afraid of his supporters? The ideas? We're being pushed towards it with a global agenda, and I guess I guess they needed to discourage that mindset of individualism by person, by country. I mean, how quickly, if you guys remember 9/11, and everyone shortly thereafter, we had the yellow magnet ribbons on the back of our cars that eventually caused it to rust. But we had tremendous patriotism, unity in this country for a little while, and then it turned, and it turned hard. And George Bush was not a great leader getting us through a tough time. He was Hitler. So, and ever since then. So that seems to probably be the narrative. I don't believe that Trump could dole out retribution if he wanted to. I don't know what my hopes and dreams are for a second Trump presidency. I guess just build the wall. Build the wall, build the wall, build the wall. And let's have him focus on that for 4 years. I don't know. He's talked about healthcare a lot. Never any specifics. When are we going to hear that plan?
We're going to make this country so successful again. I'm not going to have time for retribution. DeSantis, I don't know what he really believes, because, you never know with a politician, and he's just another politician as far as I'm concerned. But his poll numbers have gone down to a level that he's going to be out of the race very soon. He's going to be out very soon. I watched him last night. He's standing up with his shoes, his fancy shoes. You like Ron DeSantis, but he wouldn't.
His fancy shoes. So DeSantis is going to be out of the race very soon, according to Trump. Christie got caught on a hot mic. I don't know if this was before or after his exit of the race. But he was caught on a hot mic talking about his opponents, or former opponents.
People don't want to hear it, Wayne. They don't want to hear it. We know we're right, but they don't want to hear it.
Right.
And there's, we couldn't have been any clearer.
Right.
We couldn't have been any more direct or worked any harder. So,
Don't forget she spent $68 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we spent like
Well, when you give land to China and places like that.
Yeah, that's what you get.
I mean, Christie, he didn't do Patrick Bet David. Didn't go on Tim Pool. Didn't hear anything about him going on Joe Rogan. Didn't sit down with Charlie Kirk. Ben Shapiro. He didn't even do Megyn Kelly. So I guess his hopes and dreams were on Fox News, getting him over the finish line. Like,
yeah, I mean, look, she spent $68 million so far, just on TV. Spent $68 million so far, $59 million by Desantis, and we spent 12. I mean, who's punching above their weight and who's getting a return on their investment, you know? And she's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
She hasn't even been challenged. She's still 20 points behind Trump in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
And he's still going to carry Iowa, right?
Yes. Oh, I talked to Desantis called me, petrified that I would.
He's probably getting out after Iowa.
Well, so that's what I heard that, like, in that they say that he's going to be getting out after Iowa. Well, let's just, whoever Christie's talking to is the one who suggested that. It was said in the form of a question. Let's go back to Trump.
Me around today, he'd be working in a pizza shop or perhaps a law firm if I didn't endorse him. You know, I endorsed him, took him from nothing to winning an election.
Would you pledge to divest from your business in a second term as other presidents have done?
If I have a hotel and somebody comes in from China, that's a small amount of money. You know, it sounds like a lot of money. That's a small. But I was doing services for that. People were staying in these massive hotels, these beautiful hotels, because I have the best hotels. I have the best clubs. I have the best clubs. I have great stuff. And they stay there and they pay. I don't get $8 million for doing nothing like Hunter. If I didn't win, I think the stock market would crash.
Yeah, but you said when there's a crash, I hope it's going to be during this next 12 months because I don't want to be Herbert Hoover.
Well, I think there will be a crash if I don't win. And I say that, and I do not want to be Herbert Hoover. It would have never.
How many people know what that reference is? So that actually is very impressive that he just rolled that off the tongue. Because he's not a man who seems like he plans his statements. So that's what happened. Herbert Hoover got the stock market crashed, which led to the Great Depression, and he was the president holding the bag. I believe after that, when they started injecting money into the Great Depression, that's when they said, that's why it lasted so long. That's why it became the Great Depression, not just a recession like
Never happened in Ukraine. Russia would have never gone in. Would have never happened. The recent attack on Israel would have never happened. 0% chance that was going to happen. They see a weak president in our country, and they did something that was unthinkable. But if you go back and look at the records, you will see that the biggest fan of Dr. Fauci was Ron DeSanctimonious. He was a big fan. He said, I go by, exactly, quote, I go by what Dr. Fauci said. He said that 2 months in, all the way through, and then eventually changed when it wasn't, that wasn't the dessert of the day. If it weren't for me with Roe v. Wade.
I mean, that's amazing that Trump can sit there and go after DeSantis for listening to the man that he had on stage next to him.
You wouldn't even be talking about this. You wouldn't be asking that question because we'd right back. And remember this, they're the radicals. We're not the radicals. In the debate with Hillary Clinton, they said, she's willing to rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month.
Would you be committed to NATO, for example, in a second Trump term?
Depends if they treat us properly. The reason they have money right now to prosecute what they're doing.
That shows you the motive of Fox News. NATO. Who gives a shit about NATO? His bosses are concerned whether he's going to play ball with NATO. Because if that's the case, if he's not, then they're going to divest from their international funds a bit. And then they'll see, they need to know what he's going to do. Is he going to play ball or not? They need to know where they can put their money so they can reap it from us. So that was pretty uneventful. Nothing really interesting said by anybody. All very, very predictable. But you know what? I'm going to chop this shit up and I'm going to post it online.
I gotta get on that internet. I'm late on everything.
Well, please like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. Keep it all coming. I don't know, the negative comments, dislikes. Hey, man, if you feel you need to express yourself, do your thing, I suppose. I mean, I can just could just turn the shit off, but whatever. I accidentally seen a comment, didn't intentionally open it up, seen it quickly, and someone's like, it's like, you only got 1 like on your video, just give up. Like, dude, I've been doing this for like 30 days. Like, I'm still in the ignorant employee isn't really responsible for anything phase of employment. Well, this is actually month 2 as I'm recording this. I posted, exactly 1 month ago, I posted my first video. So, be so fucking mean, I'm trying. So please, like, subscribe, follow, comment, do all the things. Whatever you're going to do them.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
That's not the point. Goodbye, I'll miss you. Goodbye. I will never forget you.
See you next time.